the Wifey Rehab. If you are married, go ahead and drop how long you've been married down in the comment section. If you have listened to any of my live talks for the Wifey Rehab, you know I like to know who I'm talking to, how long you've been married, if you're engaged, and all of that good jazz. So this coming September 26th, to be exact, I'll be married 10 years. Yes, 10 years. Count them. 10 years. Okay. So I always like to see, how long people have been married. Go ahead and share this video with your good girlfriends. You know, any of your friends that you know that are married, that desire to be married, and all of that good stuff. I'm going to take a second to invite some people because I never do that. I always just kind of jump on. But tonight I am going to be a little bit more intentional and invite some people to join me tonight. And I get the question a lot, Nika, is the Wifey Rehab just for wives? I have had many women that are not wives that tune in to the Wifey Rehab that desire to be, and I just feel like, if you're a woman and you want to be married, I feel like the Wifey Rehab can definitely, give you some insight to the other side of marriage. And I want to say this tonight really quick. I was a part of a group discussion, and the question was posed about wedding planning, right? And, they were like, I'm planning my wedding, what are some things I should do, don't do, or whatever, or what are the first steps in wedding planning, right? And my comment to that was the first step I believe in wedding planning would be counseling. Or some type of communication class or some type of marital class. And the reason why I say that is because we put so much emphasis on the wedding, the dress, the flowers, the honeymoon, the church, the guest list, and all of these things, right? We put so much energy and effort into that, and we really forget what being married, the marriage is all about. The marriage is about the two people. The wedding and all of that is for everybody else. So I believe that when you're getting married, you should put just as much effort and energy and resources into sustaining the marriage and not just into the planning of the wedding. Because people spend millions, thousands of dollars on a wedding, this whole extravagant experience for their family members and friends, and then they only stay married for a year, or they only stay married for 2 years. And so I suggest that you also spend time with planning the coaching, planning to have marital counseling and communication classes and couples retreats and things like that to sustain your marriage. Because after you say I do, it gets real. I was just coaching a client, and I was telling them about marriage, and they were very early in their marriage, and I'm like, okay, statistically the 3rd year, the 3 to 5 year point in your marriage is the most challenging. But we don't hear about that. We don't talk about that. We don't hear people talking about the trials and the difficulty that we have in our marriages, especially when you take two people and you move them in together. You move all your stuff in, they move all their stuff in. You don't like their color combination, they don't like your color combination. So it's very challenging. And so I find that if you spend just as much time and effort worrying about how to sustain your marriage versus just planning this big elaborate wedding, right, that we will have longer marriages. So that's just me on my soapbox. So I just wanted to just kind of get that out there. And if you're planning a wedding, if you're getting married, or if you want to be married, I would say, and this is coming from somebody that's been married almost 10 years, I would say definitely put as much effort and energy into some type of, couple counseling, classes or anything like that that will help you sustain your marriage. Because trust and believe, challenges are going to come. You're going to face obstacles in your marriage. You're going to face seasons where you don't know if you really want to be with this person, and they don't know if they really want to be with you. So how do you get through that? How do you work through that challenging time? How do you work through those things? And if we don't learn how to work through those things early on, the challenge is going to be, how do we stay in here? How do we grab that bull by the horn and just keep on riding? You know what I'm saying? Rather than deciding to jump off. So I would just encourage you to just spend as much time investing in the marriage itself, just as much time investing in the marriage itself that you're doing in the wedding. That's just my personal opinion. That's my 2 cents, because I believe that if you want a long, healthy, marriage, that you have to invest in that. You have to invest time, energy, resources into that. Good marriages don't just happen. And I don't care if you feel like you married your soulmate, or if you feel like you married the man of your dreams, or your high school sweetheart, or whatever the case may be. No marriage, no couple is omitted from having trials and complications and seasons where they're looking at him and he's looking at her like, maybe I don't. Okay, so but anyway, that was my little 2 cents. Remember, you guys, I want to know how long you've been married, so please drop that in the comment section below. As I said, I've been married almost 10 years this coming September. So as you guys know, last week I was talking to you about the 21 days of love, because I talked to you last week about the 5 love languages, and I just want to reiterate those tonight. One is words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. And I want to know, do you know what your love language is? Or do you know what your husbands or wives, because sometimes I have men jump on, do you know what your spouse's love language is? If you know what your spouse is, oh, hey, Sonny, 9 years, yay. Do you know what your spouse's love language is? If you know, drop it in the comment section. I believe that my husband's love language is physical touch. If I touch him, he just melts, and he has this look on his face like, yes, girl. I know that he loves that. So I believe that that's what his love language is. So there are 5 love languages. So last week I asked you all to concentrate on affection, which is physical touch, and not in a sexual way, just maybe rubbing his head, or putting your hands on his shoulder, or touching his arm, or hand holding, or anything like that. So over the next 21 days, I'm challenging you to express all 5 of these love languages to your spouse. Last week was affection, and I talked about filling your spouse's love tank, and that is just from encouraging words to thank you for, and you fill in the blank, or I appreciate you for, and not just saying thank you or I appreciate that, but just really telling them and affirming what you are thankful for, that they may have done. Yours is acts of service. Oh, really? He has 2, physical touch and words of affirmation. Oh, awesome. Okay, hey, brown sugar. Okay, affirmation and quality time. Yes, I would say quality time is my husband's too. He loves to just, spend time together, whether that's watching a movie, whether that's at the park, or whatever the case may be. So that's good that you know. So this week, I want us to focus on communication. I know that they say, that is one of the things that, husbands and wives or married couples have an issue with, is communicating. So this week, I want you all to focus on, the challenge is communicating. Just communicating, hey, you know what? I was thinking about cooking X, Y, and Z for dinner. Or, hey, what do you think about such and such? Or I'm thinking about such and such. Or, I'm working late today. Or, hey, I'm planning a girls trip. Or I'm thinking about planning a girls trip. Just communicating to, your spouse, and not through text. I'm talking about voice to voice, verbal communication, but because a lot of times text can get misinterpreted, they couldn't get it, or they couldn't read it at the time, or anything, could happen with technology. And I want us to get back to the old school, the old way of loving, which is voice to voice, physical touch, face to face. So having a conversation with your spouse this week, okay, about whatever's going on, about whatever's going on in your life, in your business, just maybe some things that you're thinking about. This week is all about communication. I believe that if we can strengthen and be intentional about communicating with our husbands, with your wife, I believe that a lot of things that are happening in your relationship can be repaired and can be healed from just communicating. Hey, you know what? You said XYZ, earlier today, and it hurt my feelings, or it made me feel, some kind of way. And not just swallowing or just taking in an offense or a hurt or, something like that, and just carrying it around with you and having it affect your whole day or affect your mood with your spouse. So I want to challenge you this week to communicate. Hey, babe, I really felt some kind of way. Or, hey, you know what? I really enjoy when we blank. I would love for us to do, more of that together, this week. Or schedule a date night where you just talk about whatever your interests are outside of the kids, outside of household bills, but just talk about, you as a wife, as a woman, what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, and allow him to do the same. So I'm challenging you this week with communication. And I know it's going to be great. So with communication, we can tie that into quality time, right? We can tie that into quality time, which is one of our 5 love languages. And so during your quality time together, and I'm not talking about, that time where, you're just passing in the hallway or just, passing through the bedroom. No, I want you to be intentional about your quality time and use that as your communication time this week with your spouse. If they, work long hours or whatever the case may be, maybe call on a lunch break or something like that, or maybe stay up a little later until they get home. My husband drives truck, so he works late. So most times I'm up late, waiting on him intentionally, and I intentionally log off of social media. I make sure that the kids are, in bed or whatever, so that I can give him that quality time and so we can communicate about things. And it doesn't have to be anything heavy. It doesn't have to be, you're talking about the bills. Don't talk about the bills. Talk about things that you guys can do together, that you enjoy doing together, something that's building your relationship, or maybe a goal that you have and that you just want him to be in on, right? So this week is communication. Again, drop how long you've been married. If you're just coming in or if you're watching this on the replay, please drop how long you've been married into the comment section. And for the next 21 days, we're focusing on the 5 love languages, and they are acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, and physical touch. So I ask you all, if you know what your love language is, or if you know what your spouse's love language is, and to drop it in the comment section. So I also have a free download on my website, nikascott.com, and if you go on there, you'll be able to go into categories, and at the bottom you'll see it says the Wifey Rehab, and there's downloadable worksheets for you as a wife to just kind of assess where you guys are, and put down where you want to be, and affirmations and actions. So affirmations are like words of positive words or phrases that you speak out loud that gives you confidence and clarity, and it also builds self-esteem and connection. Oh, yay 13 years. Ooh, yay, that's exciting, brown sugar. But yeah, so that's what that is. And I really want you ladies to use this as a resource and as a guide to just kind of see where you are, see some areas that you would like to work on. And also, there's a section in there that says, 5 things you love about him and 5 things you love about yourself. A lot of times we forget, to highlight those things that we love about our spouses, and those things that we love about ourselves too, because we're so busy serving, we're so busy being wives, we're so busy being moms, small business owners, employees, everything else that we have juggling. We forget to highlight those things that are important to us, and those things that those things that we love about ourselves, and those things that we love about our spouses. So that's a free download for you that's available on my website. I'll drop it in the comment section below. It's a free link. Like I said, I'll actually put the live link, so when you click it, it'll take you right to it. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Listen, I believe that love is beautiful. I believe that marriages can work. Black marriages matter. Black marriages are surviving and thriving. I believe that once you commit to doing the work, your marriage can survive anything. Your marriage can be exactly what you desire for it to be. You just have to be willing to work for it. So if you're willing to work for it, I am willing to coach you. I'm willing to cheer you on. I'm willing to be there for you, to help you to create the marriage that you desire. That's my hope. That's my dream. That's what I'm doing for a bunch of women right now that I'm so excited about, and I'm so grateful that I get to do what I love, and I get to talk about a subject that I have not been very vocal on, which is marriage. Even though I've been married almost 10 years, I've always been about women empowerment, girl empowerment, but I really didn't have anything that I was solely focused on and soul driven about. And earlier on, it was about empowering girls and empowering women. But here recently, it has become more and more clear, because I want a happy marriage. I want a long marriage. I want to be married 30 plus years. I want to be married till one of us leave this place. And I understand that in order for that to happen, there has to be support. In order for that to happen, there has to be work that I'm committed to doing. In order for that to happen, I have to be clear on that vision. I have to be willing to also be the person that's there for other wives that want to save their marriage, or even if you don't want to save your marriage, just want to develop a better marriage, or have clear communication, or whatever it is. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you. Thank you for all the comments, all the shares. I appreciate it. Please share this video with the women in your life that are wives, that may be struggling in their marriage. I will be happy to coach them. I also do that. So I'm really, really, really excited about the way the Wifey Rehab is evolving and changing marriages, and really supporting and empowering women. And that's what I desire to do. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys again next Monday night at 8:05 right here on Facebook Live. Also, remember, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please hit me up in my inbox. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, or if there's something specific that you want me to talk about here on the Wifey Rehab, I'm absolutely open to that as well. Remember, for the next 7 days, you are intentionally communicating more with your husband or with your wife over the next 7 days. All right, we are going to bust this 21-day challenge wide open. So it's 21 days of love. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you guys next week, same time, same station.